Welcome to Conversations with Women Living Well After 50. I'm Sue Long-Carrick, and it's lovely to have you join me for another episode. A key to healthy ageing is staying socially connected, not just with family and friends, but belonging to groups and communities has proven to be beneficial to our health and well-being. Research shows that maintaining a broad social connection actually builds resilience to cope with changes in life and can ward off depression. And we've all had to cope with that in the last 6 months or so with the COVID-19 pandemic, where life has been so different. Communication and connecting with others has been restricted by living in isolation and being in lockdown, and that has affected many people, including their mental health. The flip side, though, is that humans are very creative, and we've all created an approach to staying connected with family and friends during isolation by embracing technology. A few weeks ago on the podcast, I interviewed Christine from Booming On, and we talked about travel for women 50 plus and the health benefits that brings. Obviously, we can't do that at the moment, but we will be able to again. And so I'm delighted today to introduce my guest, Mayne from SisterStay. She's going to discuss a concept for women 50 plus to experience fun, easy and affordable travel. Sue-Ann was born in Brisbane, Australia, and moved to the UK with her British husband 30 years ago. While she maintains her home in Europe, her heart still belongs to Australia, and she tries to visit home at least once a year. Having spent a number of years in Japan, Sue-Ann dreams of one day creating a sisterhood of midlife friends all over the world. So let's go and join the conversation. Welcome, Sue-Ann. It's so lovely to have you join me in conversation today. And I love your idea of building a sisterhood of midlife women around the world. So it's lovely to have you join me.
Thanks, Sue.
Now, we're going to dive in, and I talked very briefly about SisterStay in the introduction, but can you tell me a little bit about the concept and how you actually came up with it?
Sure. Well, SisterStay is a community, a homestay community for midlife and older women everywhere. It's just to make travel easy. A lot of women, I think, when they get, past kids, past jobs, start to struggle a little bit with their own identity and become a little bit less brave and adventurous. And for me personally, I really needed to get over that. And I thought, while I was at it, I'll make it easy for everybody. So it's a homestay community where we all just help each other to explore and be a bit adventurous in our second half.
Oh, that sounds great, because also in our second half, some of us are alone, we're single, or, we've lost a partner or divorce or whatever, and it can be quite daunting traveling solo. So it's good to have that sisterhood, as you call it, where you can feel safe and in the travel that you're doing. So what makes SisterStay or the alternative different to a normal Airbnb or a hotel?
I will go on. So I just wanted to say briefly that I think COVID has really brought it home for a lot of people, because, you've been isolated in your own bubble. If you didn't have a really good support network then of, people who could, well, in the UK, we have something called a bubble, and that's really close people who you're allowed to have contact with during COVID under lockdown. So a lot of people found that they didn't have anyone, close by, or anybody that they could really rely on, and physical contact with people, was not allowed either. So it really brought home for a lot of people how lonely they were and how much they were on their own. And funnily enough, it's been a silver lining for SisterStay that people have realized that they need to make more of a life for themselves and make new contacts, new friends. So we basically open our homes to one another to just help each other explore and make the most of life, meet new friends. And it's just to encourage us all to be a bit more adventurous, make new friends, explore new places, and also a chance to show our own, interesting areas off to other people. You know, in our second half, I think a lot of women enter their 50 plus second half of life and just lose a little bit of that adventurous spirit that we maybe had earlier on. Certainly, I know that I started to identify more and more as mother and less as individual person. Even though I had part-time work for, you know, years and years, still, I think I probably lived a little bit vicariously through my kids and relied on my husband, and I became a passenger in my own life. And instead of doing things, I was watching other people do things. So I came up with the idea of going around to different places, staying with different people, maybe trying different courses, doing different things. And initially it was just based on that. And it's kind of grown and grown really in my own mind and within the SisterStay community to something, yeah, much more kind of positive and life affirming. And I really feel now that we're aiming for a global community of women everywhere to just support each other and just to become more visible, more active, you know, not be constrained by lack of finances or lack of bravery or opportunity, you know, not be waiting around for a travel companion, just to be bold and make the most of every day. So that's SisterStay in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, that sounds good because I know what you mean. It as we get older, sometimes we lose our self-confidence and our self-esteem, and especially if you have been more of a stay-at-home mum or rather than having a career. And when the empty nest arrives, you sort of think, oh, you know, what's going to happen now? Who am I? You really lose your identity. So that's good that you've got that, because it will encourage women to maybe step out of their comfort zone a little bit and know that they've got that support.
Yeah,
so,
I hope so. I think for me, it was an empty nest. For lots of other people, it's, you know, retirement or it's divorce or, you know, any number of triggers where you suddenly think, oh my gosh, you know, who am I? What am I doing? A lot of people like to reassess as they get older. And I think it's hard to do that on your own. It's really nice to have a supportive community. And, you know, that's what SisterStay will be. Hopefully, you know, everywhere one day. It'll be in all different countries. So you'll be able to travel close to home or further afield. And wherever you go, there'll just be this whole friendship group, this, you know, community of other supportive women waiting to give you a hand.
That's lovely. And women do support each other well. So that's something
women are great, aren't they? It's so comfortable spending time with older women. It's just a very easy friendship. Even if you don't know each other very well, I just find it so comfortable straight away.
Yeah, I agree. So what makes SisterStay different to a normal Airbnb and hotel?
Well, lots of things. I think, first of all, Airbnb is getting ridiculously expensive for a starter. That's kind of a big thing. I didn't want SisterStay to be like that. It's not really a money-making venture for the hosts, or frankly for me. It's just, it's a community. So we want to cover our costs, but we're not trying to make a fortune. And we really try and make sure that you know who's coming through your door. A lot of people would like to be hosts on Airbnb. It's a great way to earn a little extra income in your, you know, retirement, but you don't know who's coming through the door. So we verify the identification of everybody as they join. And that's a photo ID and a check against their address as well, and have a live chat, you know, via WhatsApp so that we can make sure it's the same person on the ID papers. And that takes quite a bit of time, but it also establishes a level of trust right from the beginning. And they, you know, future SisterStay hosts and guests know where they are, know what they're joining. You know, it's a big thing to hand over your passport details.
Yes.
We don't hold them, may I just say. It's just to check you are who you are, and we would never give out anybody's details to anyone else. We just like an introduction agency, I guess, on that. And we introduce hosts and guests, and then when you're ready to give out your details, you do that yourself. But really, it's just a way of reassuring everybody that they've joined a safe community where everybody's been verified and everyone's had a little chat as well, so we all know why we're in it, which is to support one another.
Yeah. And you said that you wanted to make it hopefully a community that will be worldwide. So after COVID, of course, and everything will happen after COVID, I think we can
in the new post-COVID world.
That's right. Whatever that normal will be, travel will happen again.
It will.
But what would be involved if someone wanted to be a host? How do they get to, become one?
Yeah. First of all, I'd just like to say that there is life after COVID. It's kind of hard to imagine now, and I think older women in particular may be more nervous than other people, but I really think there's the little silver lining of COVID is that it's made us realize what's important in life and what we need to do to make the most of it, not let it slip by. We all see now how precious it is because, we've been denied basic freedoms. So I hope that will be an impetus for a lot of people to join, not just SisterStay, but, other groups as well that encourage you to, live really full lives. So SisterStay will eventually go properly global. It's funny because when we first started, people from overseas wanted to join and we stopped them thinking, no, we must get established in the UK first. We must make sure that, the system, the setup works. And so we discouraged people last year, which was crazy. And now this year we are encouraging people from everywhere to join, to just make it so that you can travel close to home or you can go further afield. Wherever you go, there'll be a little network. It doesn't have to be the big overseas trip to the UK or, to Australia or wherever. And so if people would like to join, we need to do the verification, which means I need to see a copy of a photo ID, which usually a passport, could be a driver's license, need to be a clear photo, and also proof of address of some kind. And we put all those together with a chat, a live chat via WhatsApp usually, so that we can just make sure it's the same person. It just gives everybody peace of mind.
So, well, that sounds good because I was actually talking to some women about the upcoming interview that we're having, and they were saying, oh, that sounds really interesting from both sides, as someone wanting to travel but also hosting as well. So they were keen to know more about that. And I think that you're right. I mean, there's no reason that you can't start it up, for example, in Australia now, because at the moment we are quite restricted with our travel, like everywhere else.
Yeah.
And in fact, even in Queensland where I live, the borders are closed, and so.
But you can still travel within Queensland, right?
That's exactly right.
If you had a little network of friends now in Queensland, you could be visiting one another.
Yes,
it's that kind of thing really that we want to set up. Yeah. We actually we have different levels of host, so you could set it. You can come in as a guest only if you want to, or as a host who is a guest as well. So originally we said you could only join if you were prepared to do both, well, you didn't have to travel, but you had to host in order to travel. And funnily enough, we accumulated a whole lot of hosts and not that many travelers. So then we opened it up and said, look, you can choose if you want to be a guest or a host. And we have different levels of hosts. So some people have a lot of time to spare and a lot of time to offer their guests, and they are champions. And then we have buddies who maybe have part-time work or other commitments. And then we have meeters and greeters. So at the very least, you're guaranteed a warm welcome into someone's home and a chat at the end of the day, maybe with a glass of wine, talk about, the course you did or what you saw, or, help you plan what you're doing tomorrow. So there's really a comfortable level for everybody. And you can see on people's profiles and listings what it is they're offering, and, align it with your own needs, or, have a pre-visit chat to make sure that you're on the same wavelength of, what you're going to offer each other. So you don't have to be besties for the whole weekend, not at all. Entirely down to individuals, how much engagement they want. But the idea is that it is, like staying with a friend, albeit one you haven't yet met.
And would there be the facility with some of the accommodation to, maybe if you just wanted to take a girlfriend along and with you, so they can accommodate more than one person in their home?
Yes. Quite a few hosts are able to host more than one person. Annoyingly, the website is not really set up to do that. So where that's happened in the past, we've actually kind of booked 2 consecutive stays as opposed to one together. So that's just because it's a generic website that we're still kind of molding. Actually, websites are really expensive things to set up, especially marketplace websites. So, you know, we are still developing that. It's a great little site, but it's not 100% tailor-made to us at this stage. So yes, you can travel with a friend, or, you know, some mother-daughter combos go sometimes. Generally older daughters. It's down to the host, really. So long as one of you is 50 plus and you discuss with the host, you know, we just really want to encourage that interaction between people. So
And as a host, do you have to provide meals and that sort of thing like you would in a B&B or
well,
a hotel?
Breakfast is definitely a part of it, and then on your listing you can specify whether you're willing to offer other meals. So we just say breakfast is a part of the deal, the overnight deal. And then you discuss with your host, maybe they're willing to give you a packed lunch or, you know, a dinner in the evening or whatever. That depends on individuals. And so we don't want to get involved in that. You just, you know, can indicate in advance. But you can also indicate on your listing if you have any dietary requirements, if you're a vegetarian or any intolerances. Interestingly, on the listing, there's lots of other things you can indicate as well. Like some people want to travel with their dogs. You know, some people have certain requirements. They can only sleep on a ground floor, have mobility issues, or if you're a member of a specific club, like in the UK, a lot of people are a member of Ramblers, so they love to go walking, or a member of the WI or whatever. It's really nice to find a kindred spirit. You could just literally type in which group you belong to, and see if anybody else is a member of that. So, you know, there's the Alpha Church group, or if you're a member of a book group, or, you know, who knows, cooking club or skydiving or whatever it might be. In addition to your hobbies and interests, there's this little section for group affiliations, which I think really helps people to identify one another, including, I don't know if you know about an organisation called Way Up, which is for widows. Again, it's quite nice to know that you've got something so fundamental in common.
Yes, that's a great idea, because if you are going to, you know, stay with someone that you don't know, it sometimes can be a little bit daunting, and just having that common ground is great. So I'd probably be looking up one for runners or some, you know, something like that, because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you don't have to stay with someone who has exactly the same interests. But the point is,
but if you want to,
you can see what each other's interests and, you know, activities, hobbies, and things are, and it just helps ease the way, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. Now, social connection, especially for women over 50 or at any age, really is just so important to our health and well-being. So, apart from just providing the host, you know, that sort of arrangement there, is there anything else that SisterStay does to help people stay connected? Have you got a community, say, on a Facebook group, or have you got a newsletter, or how do you sort of help people stay connected?
We are on social media. And we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have a newsletter every couple of weeks. We have Zoom chats throughout the COVID period. And also all the people who join, whether they're hosts or guests, but particularly actually if they're just in the guest only category, indicate whether they could offer something else to people who are visiting in their area. So you might not be able to offer a spare bedroom, but maybe you can meet up with someone for a meal, or perhaps you could help them plan their itinerary, or, you know, show them around somewhere, you know, local to you. It's actually quite a lot of fun to show off your area. Even if you can't have somebody to stay, it's lovely if you've got a special, you know, little cafe or gallery or, you know, museum or something, you know, walking spot that's special to you, to just be able to say, yeah, next time, you know, somebody's in my area, I'd really love to share that. So it just makes it all a little bit more personable and like going to stay with a friend.
Yes, that's right. And it's not like the organised tours and things like that, where you sort of just see the touristy spots. I think staying with a local, yes. And look, actually, I've got a cousin who lives in Adelaide, and she would be the perfect host, because we, a couple of cousins and I went over to visit her, and we hadn't seen her for about 40 years, which was just lovely. And she took us everywhere, and all those little places that if I'd gone on an organised tour or something a bit more touristy, I would never have seen. And it was just so lovely. And I did say to her at the time, oh, you should do this as a job, as a career, because you're just so good at it. And I think
she should just join SisterStay.
Well, I didn't know about SisterStay then, but I can tell her about it now. So she would be absolutely perfect at that. Do you actually have to pay to be a host, or
No, not at all.
No. You
Joining as a guest or a host is completely free. Each night is the same cost wherever you stay. So whether you're in Australia or the UK or anywhere at the moment, we're trying to just keep it as a single overnight cost, which kind of makes it more of a community, less like, a business. We just want to make it affordable. So basically, if you host 2 nights, in theory, you've got the money pretty much to go and stay for 2 nights somewhere else. So the overnight fee is 36 British pounds, which I think is about $50 US and maybe something like 70 Australian dollars. I meant to look it up before I came on. I should know as an Australian. I can't remember what the exchange rate is.
Yeah, well, yes, we're I think it's around 70 odd to the, it's usually about double at least, if not more.
Yeah,
for the
so more
UK.
than 60 of that would go directly to the host. And
you're trying to keep the costs down, which is, really good, but especially for a single person. And travel can just be so expensive that it really prohibits some people because they can't afford it. So
and that's another thing about getting the inside run on things as well. If you've got somebody who can kind of show you the easy way to do things, or the cheaper way to do things, that always makes it a bit more fun. When I have people come to stay here, like I live close to several National Trust properties and a stately home in the next village, and I can take people into the stately home in the next village on my pass. So we do lots of walks, pop into little cafes and things they wouldn't see, go and visit special places, most of which are free. And that just, is a little something extra that I can offer. We have a woman who has a rescue dog, no, not a rescue dog, a support dog charity. And one of the things that she offers is help with your dog. So if you've got a naughty dog, for instance, she says, oh, if you bring your dog, I'll give you a hand to try and sort out any of its naughty problems. And quite a few people have come forward with their, unique thing that they can offer. One woman who had, I think, a fairly ugly divorce is now kind of offering a retreat for people who feel bereaved, because a divorce can often feel like a bereavement.
Well, it is.
She just wants to really, cosset people, and cosset sounds a bit too sticky, but no, she just wants to make people feel really special and have a really fantastic time. So, we just have a lot of interesting people offering all kinds of different things.
Yes, well, I was actually thinking about the retreat, a retreat before when you were talking, because, sometimes you just want to get away. You don't necessarily want to do a lot of sightseeing, or you may not even want to travel too far, but you just want to get away to an environment that is peaceful and that you can sort of gather your thoughts and just be calm. And especially if you've gone through a trauma, a divorce, or other forms of loss. I mean, even people at the moment have just been so affected by COVID in so many ways that mental health is really, well, it's always an issue, but I think it's just that
it's really being tested at the moment, isn't
it? Yeah, very, very much so. And so something like that would be a lovely alternative, because you'd be feeling as if you're getting that comfort that you need.
I think so too. Just so time with a friend, just quietly relaxing in a peaceful and new location where you haven't got any of the worries from home. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and also they're not going, you don't feel like you have to tell them everything. You can just go and chat over a coffee about anything else if you want to, but just in that nice calming environment. So I quite like that idea as well. Now, before we finish, it's been lovely to chat to you today, and I just love your vibrant personality, and it's really great to have met you and to chat, because we've sort of chatted through technology, but not being able to see each other. Yeah, but technology can be a little bit. Yeah, that's right. So before we go, I usually ask my guests this question, and I'm going to put this to you today, and that is, what does being a woman living well mean to you?
A woman living well after 50 in particular, I would say, means staying active and interested in life, like really not letting it pass us by, not saying I'm too old, you know, to do such and such now, or I don't really do that anymore. Like really try and grasp life by the bra straps, as I think I had an Instagram hashtag once. I thought, oh, that's exactly what I really mean, and not by the bootstraps. We really want to just get out there and do things. Don't become invisible. Don't become a spectator. Really just make the most of life. It is precious. It's not forever. And we need to, do good things. Live
Yeah.
it to the fullest.
Yeah, I love asking that question because so far I haven't had the same answer twice, and
Oh, that's interesting.
it's really great to hear all these positive messages. And we do only get one shot at life, and I think in the second half of life, it's a great opportunity for us to explore who we are and explore new opportunities and new things. I think the thing is you just have to believe in yourself and have that confidence to say, well, I can do it. And I think that with SisterStay, it's just lovely because you're building that community. You're not just saying, I mean, I've done a fair bit of traveling in my time, and you stay in a hotel or something and you're just another person. It's not the same,
is it?
and they don't know you, you don't know them, and you move on, sort of thing. Whereas you could probably build, friendships that will last for a time, and people wanting to go back and that sort of thing. So I think it is lovely that the whole concept. And go on.
I was at the dentist recently, and the dentist was telling me that his wife's friend had recently done a 3-week tour of New Zealand and not spoken to a single, native New Zealander other than to ask for a cup of coffee and it'd been a really disappointing trip. And I thought, that was just so sad.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I say recently, this is 6 months ago, pre-COVID times.
Yeah.
But to think that you could go and spend all that time in another country, like, a really friendly, safe, English-speaking country where it should be so easy to mix in with the locals, and she hadn't really met any, I almost cried.
Yeah.
I want SisterStay to be there for every woman like that, so that she is not reliant on some tour company to just go from tourist destination to tourist destination without really experiencing a little bit of life in that country and meeting those people from that country. And I think we've got a big role to play. I just want women to totally enjoy this second half.
Yeah, that sounds great. But I've just enjoyed having you so much to chat today. And what I'll be doing is also putting all the links to your website and your social media in the show notes so that people can get in touch with you, whether they want to find out more about being a host or we'll have to get a few Aussies on board, I think. And
we do have a couple, but we certainly need to expand. We've not advertised. Well, we've not advertised in the UK or Australia. And I hope in a way that we never have to advertise. I'm hoping that just little tentacles and waves will go out through women who've done it and women who've heard about it, and quietly, slowly, but continuously we'll just grow globally, so that it's a resource for us all.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. And for those of you that are listening, please pop over and say hello to Sue Ann on her website and check out SisterStay and also her Instagram and other social media. And if you've enjoyed this conversation and episode today, please share it with a friend who might be interested in also finding out more about the topic we've discussed today. Don't forget to leave a review and also subscribe to the channel so you never miss a conversation. And until next time, remember to embrace life every day. Bye for now.